The South China Sea, October 9, 2025. As dawn breaks over these contested waters, a new chapter in maritime security is being written. Warships from the United States, Japan, and the Philippines cut through tropical waters, not for routine drills, but as a bold statement of intent and resolve. This is a show of unity, a direct response to rising tensions, and a message aimed squarely at China, whose assertive actions have unsettled the region. The US brings a formidable carrier strike group, Japan deploys its most advanced destroyer, and the Philippines contributes its newest, most capable frigates. Together, they practice complex maneuvers, anti-submarine warfare, search and rescue, and seamless communication, demonstrating interoperability and shared purpose. These exercises are held within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, waters China also claims as its own, making every maneuver a statement. By conducting drills here, the alliance asserts the Philippines' legal rights under international law, specifically UNCLOS, reinforcing the rules-based order. This is more than military posturing, it's a direct challenge to China's expansionism, signaling that the status quo will be defended. Years of diplomacy have led to this moment. The US and Philippines share a mutual defense treaty, while US-Japan ties anchor Pacific security and stability. The new Japan-Philippines partnership is the latest link, uniting three wary island nations with shared interests and common concerns. The trilateral framework is a natural evolution, forging a resilient network to preserve the regional order and deter aggression. Every coordinated maneuver builds trust, transforming three navies into a single force, if only for these crucial days, but with lasting impact. The drills are the muscle behind years of diplomatic words, turning promises into action and signaling resolve to allies and adversaries alike. In these contested waters, unity is both message and deterrent, a visible barrier against unilateral change. The world is watching, and the stakes have never been higher. Every move is scrutinized, every signal matters. The South China Sea is now the proving ground for a new alliance, one that could shape the future of the Indo-Pacific for years to come. These trilateral exercises are more than military training. They're a calculated move in the Indo-Pacific's geopolitical chess game. Their main goal, credible deterrence. China's gray zone tactics have changed facts on the water, but a united front raises the stakes. Japan's participation marks a shift from post-war restraint to proactive regional security, protecting vital trade routes. For the Philippines, these drills are a lifeline, offering protection and leverage against Chinese pressure. American and Japanese warships in Philippine waters send a clear message: Manila is not alone. The trilateral format counters China's narrative of a US interloper, showing a coalition of partners for a free and open Indo-Pacific. These exercises challenge the idea of a unipolar Asia dominated by Beijing. They reinforce a rules-based order, preferred by many in the region. The drills are a physical stand for sovereignty and stability. In the South China Sea, deterrence is now a team effort. At the heart of today's escalating conflict lies the 9-dash line, China's sweeping and controversial claim over nearly 90% of the South China Sea, a region rich in resources and vital to global trade. This line, drawn unilaterally by China, cuts deep into waters long used by neighboring countries. China's claim directly clashes with the internationally recognized exclusive economic zones of the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei, creating a web of overlapping interests and rising diplomatic tensions. Scarborough Shoal, a small but strategic reef just 120 nautical miles from Luzon, has become a flashpoint in this struggle, symbolizing the larger battle for control in the region. Once a traditional Filipino fishing ground, Scarborough Shoal is now blockaded by Chinese Coast Guard ships, preventing local fishermen from accessing their livelihood. In 2012, after a tense and prolonged standoff, China seized control of the shoal, effectively shutting out Filipino fishermen and asserting its dominance in the area. In response, the Philippines turned to international law, bringing the case to The Hague. In 2016, the Permanent Court of Arbitration ruled that China's 9-dash line had no legal basis under international law. The ruling affirmed the fishing rights of Filipinos and rejected China's expansive claims, but China dismissed the verdict outright and has continued to enforce its blockade at the shoal. This ongoing defiance of international law by China is the core of the dispute, raising questions about the effectiveness of global legal institutions and the future of maritime order. In response, Trilateral naval drills involving the US, Japan, and the Philippines have become more frequent, a show of force and unity, not from a court, but from a coalition determined to uphold the law at sea and deter further aggression. Today, Scarborough Shoal stands as a powerful symbol of resistance, national pride, and unresolved tension, its waters echoing the hopes and frustrations of those who depend on them. The struggle here is about far more than territory or resources. It's about the rules that govern the world's oceans, the balance of power in Asia, and the future of international law itself. The South China Sea is a global crossroads. 1/3 of maritime trade, over $3 trillion annually, passes through these waters. Disruption here would shake the world economy, hitting everything from oil prices to electronics. Beneath the waves lie contested oil and gas reserves, fueling competition between China and its neighbors. The sea is also a lifeline for millions, providing food and livelihoods through its rich fisheries. Overfishing and China's island building threaten these resources and the fragile marine ecosystem. Militarily, the sea is a battleground for influence. China's artificial islands extend its reach, while the US seeks to keep sea lanes open. Here, the interests of two world powers collide. The South China Sea is where economic, environmental, and military stakes converge. Freedom of navigation is the foundation of maritime order, ensuring ships can pass through international waters unimpeded. The trilateral exercises are, at their core, a defense of this principle. By sailing through contested waters, the US, Japan, and the Philippines challenge China's sweeping claims. China's demands for control over these waters threaten global commerce and set a dangerous precedent. If unchecked, a single nation could choke off vital shipping lanes, disrupting economies worldwide. The drills send a message: international waters remain open to all. Collective resolve is on display. Rules, not might, should govern the seas. These operations reinforce the legal architecture of the world's oceans. In the South China Sea, the fight for free passage is far from over. China's reaction to the trilateral drills is swift and uncompromising. Official condemnations, accusations of provocation, and warnings of regional instability. Beijing paints the US as an agitator, Japan as a meddler, and the Philippines as a pawn. On the water, Chinese warships and Coast Guard vessels shadow the Allied formation, raising the risk of miscalculation. Air patrols intensify, and the atmosphere is tense, but controlled. China wields economic leverage, hinting at consequences for the Philippines' deepening alliances. This economic coercion is a familiar tactic. Defiance comes at a price. The international community has split US allies' voice support, but many Southeast Asian nations remain cautious, wary of retaliation and entanglement. The region is divided, coalitions form, but most watch and wait. The standoff is as much about influence as territory. In these waters, every maneuver is a message. For Filipino fishermen, the South China Sea dispute is painfully real. Every day, their livelihoods are shaped by forces far beyond their control, and the uncertainty weighs heavily on their minds. Generations have relied on these waters for their daily bread. But now, Chinese Coast Guard ships block their way, using water cannons and intimidation to drive them back. The threat is constant, and the risks are growing. Small wooden boats are no match for steel-hulled patrols. Catches have dwindled, and poverty deepens with each passing season. Many families struggle to put food on the table, their future uncertain. The 2016 arbitral ruling affirmed their rights, but on the water, little has changed. Legal victories offer hope, but enforcement remains a distant promise. The trilateral drills bring hope. Warships on the horizon suggest Manila is no longer alone. International support is a source of comfort, even if the outcome is still uncertain. Some fishermen feel emboldened, hoping for safer seas and renewed livelihoods. The sight of Allied ships inspires cautious optimism and dreams of returning to abundant fishing grounds. Yet fear lingers. The presence of so many warships raises the specter of conflict. The tension in the air is palpable, and the possibility of violence is never far away. These communities are caught in a geopolitical crossfire, their simple wish, to fish in peace, overshadowed by the ambitions of powerful nations. Their daily routines are shaped by forces they cannot control. The drills are a sign the world is watching, but enforcement remains elusive. Headlines come and go, but the fishermen's struggle continues, often unnoticed. For these fishermen, the struggle is not about strategy, it's about survival. Each day at sea is a test of endurance, courage, and hope. Their plight is the human face of this maritime standoff. Behind every headline, there are families waiting and lives hanging in the balance. The hope is for protection, not provocation. Fishermen long for a future where they can work without fear, supported by their nation and the world. In the end, their future depends on what happens far beyond their shores. The decisions made in distant capitals will shape the fate of these coastal communities for generations to come. The trilateral drills and China's response ripple across the Indo-Pacific, forcing nations to reconsider their alliances. Southeast Asian countries face a tough choice: balance economic ties with China against security assurances from the US. The region's polarization threatens ASEAN unity and fuels a regional arms race. Defense budgets rise, new submarines and missiles are bought, and the risk of escalation grows. Economic uncertainty follows as investors grow wary of instability. Military focus overshadows urgent issues like climate change, illegal fishing, and piracy. Trust and cooperation erode as suspicion dominates. The cost of confrontation is measured not just in security, but in lost opportunities for peace and prosperity. The trilateral exercises are not a solution, but a signal. Deterrence requires constant vigilance and unity. Security cooperation must be matched by open diplomatic channels, even in tense times. The goal is not to isolate China, but to encourage respect for international rules. For the Philippines and its neighbors, resilience means modernizing defenses and building strong economies. ASEAN solidarity can amplify smaller nations' voices. The South China Sea is a test of whether law or power will shape the future. The sight of Allied ships is a choice for a free and open Indo-Pacific. The long watch has begun. Peace demands vigilance.